You're watching Building the Franchise with the Jacksonville Jaguars, only on MBL Network.
All right, we are back. We're going to go ahead and jump straight into this. We're not going to get too deep into an intro here. Just know that this is going to be a two-part episode. The first one right now, and the next one's going to come out Monday at noon as well, just so we can get everything caught up and try to get back to our normal schedule where we put out weekly, an episode every week. So first thing we're going to talk about is the moves we made during the offseason leading up to the draft. We released Allen Hurns, Calais Campbell, and Malik Jackson, and we signed defensive end Mike Daniels to a 3-year, $23.8 million contract. That saves us about $4 million this year compared to what we would have had to pay Calais Campbell for a similar skill set. The other less impactful releases that we had on the team this offseason: quarterback Jacoby Brissett, halfback Corey Grant, defensive tackle Sheldon Day, and left end Yannick Ngakoue. And again, might be butchering that, but whatever, he's not on the team anymore. We went into the draft with 2 first-round picks. With our 18th overall pick, we selected left tackle Myron Osgood out of Pittsburgh. We're really only looking for 2 positions during this draft, and that's offensive line and halfback, somebody that hopefully is going to take the reins from Leonard Fournette, who can't stay healthy. And with that, we selected the power back Brenton Fisher out of Penn. He comes in 228 pounds, 6'2", 22 years old. We selected with that 32nd overall pick that we got from the Detroit Lions. And in the second round, we came back and we got a free safety. He was kind of the best available player left on our board. We wanted to make sure we got somebody in case we do end up losing TJ McDonald Jr. and we're not able to get a deal done with him. So we brought in Ford. He's a young player, a young zone safety, so we're hoping he'll be able to get some time and experience here in the preseason. We also selected tight end Vincent Mendoza. I know I said we're going a lot of offensive line, but you'll see on these last couple picks here, we did go a lot of offensive line for one draft. But Mendoza does come in with a better receiving skill set than the 2 other tight ends we had besides Eric Ebron last season. With our 4th round pick, we selected left guard Taylor Dudley. Like I said, back to offensive line. We're excited to work on this guy throughout preseason here and hopefully develop him into a starting potential by the end of the regular season. Defensive tackle DeMarco Davis was our 5th round pick. We brought him in kind of not really what we were looking for. We thought he was a little bit stronger than that. Unfortunately, he's only 82 strength. But he'll currently come in as the 2nd string player there on the defensive tackle position. With our 6th round pick, we brought in a left outside linebacker. We kind of just needed some depth at that position, not really something we were looking at for a starter, obviously, in the 6th round. Just somebody to continue to develop as this season goes on. And then in the 7th round, the final round that we picked in here, obviously, we picked left tackle Kevin Stores. So we currently have one of the youngest offensive lines in the MBL. We have pretty much everybody on our team everybody on our offensive line is a 1st or 2nd year player with the exception of Cam Robinson. So we kind of go into this season 29 preseason here without really any kind of idea what to expect on the offensive line. It's going to be an interesting preseason and an interesting season in general. But we do come into this preseason and we kept Leonard Fournette completely out of any preseason action. He was not in any game, mostly because we know what he can do, but we also know that he's very injury prone. So we want to make sure that we keep him healthy going into the regular season and not add some carries and add some yardage to his legs there. Make sure he tries to stay as healthy as possible. But we come into this first preseason game, as you've been watching a couple clips here, and the defense pretty much just stepped up and dominated this game against the Bengals, with 4 total interceptions against these Bengals here, and also that blocked punt that you've seen returned for a touchdown in a few clips ago. And even though there was so much struggles on the other team there, we did have some pretty good success at quarterback ourselves, with Daniel Shirley completing 6 of his 7 attempts before going to the bench, and then Jeff Driscoll, the backup quarterback, coming in and completing 6 of his 9. We did get the rookie halfback going. He started the majority of the preseason games, and as you see here, he is somewhat Leonard Fournette-esque, if you could say. He's a bit of a truck monster there, so he likes to run people over, and we're excited to see that moving on here in the preseason. And for our second game, we took on the Buffalo Bills, who had a pretty good season last year. And Daniel Shirley came in and, again, extremely accurate. 11 of 12, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. And our defense just continued to be stingy with 2 more interceptions this week, only allowing 1 touchdown by the Bills quarterbacks. And once again, we block a punt. This was a point of emphasis throughout the entire preseason, was just making a difference on special teams. The special teams coach let the team know just how important it is when you can make plays on the special teams phase of the game that impact the scoreboard, because you score touchdowns without getting your offense on the field, without keeping your defense tired. It's something that they worked on throughout the entire preseason. And then once again, just Brenton Fisher running people over. We ended up winning the game against the Bills there, 31-10. So after a loss to the Browns, 35-10 in preseason, we went ahead and played the Denver Broncos in the last week of the preseason here, and we did end up winning this game 38-10. Once again, Brenton Fisher just having an excellent game so far. I mean, he's had a really good preseason, and we're definitely comfortable with the fact that if Leonard Fournette gets hurt, we do have a backup that is able to hold his own in the running game, and something that we're super excited for because we've not really had that. Corey Grant was decent, but he wasn't able to really break many tackles, and yes, he was elusive, but he wasn't quite as elusive as we wanted him to be. So again, like I said, we did win this game against the Broncos 38-20, and we threw for 411 yards on their defense, which is something that we don't really do very often here in Jacksonville. So as the early season began, we made one change. We released center AJ Metropolis and signed LaMarcus Thompson, the halfback rookie from the practice squad at the Chicago Bears. So we started off season 29 once again against the Bengals. We already played them in preseason. We had a pretty good preseason game against them. But we come into this game, and Daniel Shirley just completely forgot what color our team's jersey was. He threw 18 for 29, which isn't terrible, but he did throw 3 interceptions, including this one with 1 minute and 34 seconds left. That sealed the loss for us, 19-10. But then a huge bounce back win, 42-28 against the Browns in week 2, leads us into our week 3 matchup, which was an MBL Live game that I'm only going to show you a few clips from because, as usual, I want you to go to the MBL Live game archives and actually watch the game. And that was that game right there against the New England Patriots. And again, you're not going to want to miss it. You're going to want to make sure you tune in for that one. Go back on the archives and just check that one out. Moving on, though, after a 20-13 loss in Week 4 against the Vikings, we took on the Green Bay Packers in Week 5. And if you'll notice here in these practice mode clips, we don't have Daniel Shirley taking practice snaps. That's because in the Week 5 matchup against the Green Bay Packers, where we lost 28-12, we lost Daniel Shirley on the first drive of the game for the remainder of the season. And just based on his growth and potential that he had shown last season, this is huge for the team. This is a huge loss that we were not expecting. So we had to go out and make some changes. Driscoll came into that game after Shirley went down and was absolutely horrendous. So we went out, we traded our 4th round pick to the Cincinnati Bengals for the quarterback Wooden. He is a second-year player who he didn't really have any success, but there's not many quarterbacks in Cincinnati who have success, so it's hard to gauge his ability based on that, but we had to go out and make some kind of change, and this is the one we decided on here. So we brought him in, and we're going to touch on a little more in the next episode, which comes out tomorrow at noon, Monday at noon. We're going to talk about exactly how Wooden has been playing. We did have a Week 6 bye week, so we're going to talk about on the next episode there, starting with the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, as you know, they're a powerhouse in the MBL, and it's definitely going to be a tough matchup for a quarterback who's just learning the system here in Jacksonville. So make sure you guys tune in for that episode tomorrow. Again, it's coming out tomorrow. It's kind of just a second part of this episode, but we're going to continue that and get you all caught up as we move forward in MBL season number 29.